I trusted my husband, even when we fought every night, even when he said I was crazy. But one night, I heard him whisper a name in the dark, and in that moment, I realized the problem was never me. I trusted my husband, not the loud kind of trust people talk about, the quiet kind. The kind where you stop questioning small changes because you believe love doesn't need proof every day. Lately, though, something felt off. We fought almost every night, but never about anything clear. It was always my tone, my timing, my questions. He said I was tired, emotional, overthinking. "You're imagining things," he'd say, rubbing his temples like I was exhausting him. "You need to relax." So I tried. I cooked his favorite meals. I stopped asking where he'd been. I swallowed the feeling in my chest that told me something was wrong. That night, he came home late again. No message, no explanation, just the sound of keys at the door long after midnight. I was sitting on the couch, lights dimmed, pretending to watch something I hadn't followed for hours. "You're still up?" he asked, surprised. I nodded. I was worried. He sighed. "See, this is what I mean. You're always making a problem." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just stood up and went to the bedroom. I told myself to sleep, to stop spiraling, to trust him. That's when I heard it. His phone buzzed. Once, then again. I wasn't trying to snoop. The next morning, he acted normal. Too normal. He made coffee, asked if I slept well, kissed my forehead like nothing had happened, like my world hadn't cracked open a few hours earlier. I watched him carefully, searching his face for something. Guilt, fear, hesitation. There was nothing. "Why are you staring?" he asked with a small laugh. I looked away. "Just tired." He nodded, satisfied with the answer. He always was. For days, I said nothing. I listened instead. Every time I asked a question, he turned it back on me. "Why are you so suspicious? Can't you just trust me? You're creating problems that don't exist." And slowly, I felt myself shrinking. I replayed that night again and again. His voice, the way he'd said her name, the softness he never used with me anymore. Maybe I misheard it. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe I really was overreacting. That's what gaslighting does. It doesn't scream. It whispers until you doubt your own memory. One evening, I finally asked him, "Who did you talk to the other night?" I said casually, pretending my heart wasn't racing. He didn't even pause. He replied, "No one, just work." Work. I stopped asking questions after that. Not because I believed him, but because I finally understood how carefully he chose his answers. He was kinder now, more attentive. He brought flowers home for no reason, asked how my day was, told me I looked tired in that concerned way that sounded loving but felt dismissive. "You've just been stressed," he said one evening, brushing past the subject like it was nothing. "Let's not ruin things by overthinking." So I nodded, but inside something shifted. I noticed patterns I hadn't wanted to see before. How he stepped outside to take calls, how his phone never left his hand, how he smiled at messages he didn't share. Once I asked who he was texting. "No one important," he replied instantly. Instant answers are never honest. That night I lay awake, listening to his breathing slow beside me. My eyes stayed open in the dark, fixed on the ceiling. I wasn't angry. I was alert. A few days later, it happened again. He thought I was asleep. I heard him whisper. Not my name, not loudly. I didn't follow him. Not the way movies make it look. Hiding behind corners, checking locations every second, losing dignity in the process. I did something quieter. I watched. Because when someone thinks you're blind, they stop being careful. That week, he started leaving earlier, coming home later, and every time I asked how his day was, he gave me the same answer in a different tone. Busy, long, stressful. Then he'd add something soft to keep me calm. You know I'm doing this for us. For us. It was always for us, until it was clearly for someone else. One night, he left his laptop open on the kitchen counter. It wasn't dramatic, no password screen, no sudden panic, just a screen glowing quietly like it had been waiting for me. I walked past it, pretending not to notice. Then I came back. My hands were steady, but my chest felt tight, like my body knew this would change everything. An email was open. I didn't read every word. I didn't need to. I saw the subject line first. Can't wait to see you again. My throat tightened. I scrolled just enough to see a name. Her name. The same one I'd heard whispered in the dark. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Not because I was shocked, but because it finally had a shape. The betrayal wasn't just a feeling anymore. It was real, written, casual, like it belonged in his life. And what hurt most wasn't that it existed, it was how easy it looked. Like I was just background noise in the home I kept warm for him. I closed the laptop gently. I didn't confront him. That was the first thing I decided. Confrontation gives liars time to prepare, to twist the truth, to make you doubt what you already know, and I was done doubting myself. Instead, I changed. Not in ways he could accuse me of noticing, but in ways he wouldn't question. I stopped asking where he was going, stopped checking the clock, stopped reacting when he came home late. I became easy again, and that's when he relaxed. He smiled more, slept better, touched my shoulder in passing like everything between us was fine, like I was finally behaving the way he wanted. You seem different, he said one night. Better, I replied. He believed me. A few days later, I suggested something casually, like it had just crossed my mind. My sister invited me to stay with her this weekend. I might go. You'll have the place to yourself. He didn't look up, but I saw it, the relief he tried to hide. That's fine, he said, quickly. Too quickly. You should get out more. I smiled. That night, I packed a small bag and left like everything was normal. I kissed him goodbye, told him I'd call. I didn't go to my sister's. I parked. I didn't confront him right away. Truth has more weight when it's carried calmly. That evening, he sat across from me at the table, scrolling through his phone like nothing had changed, like he hadn't opened our home to someone else while believing I was miles away. Did you sleep okay? He asked casually. Yes, I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised even me. We ate in silence for a while, the kind that used to make me uncomfortable. Now it felt powerful. He finally looked up. You're being quiet. I met his eyes, held them. I know, I said. Something in my tone made him sit straighter. I didn't accuse him. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't list what I'd seen. I just said one sentence. You don't have to pretend anymore. The color drained from his face. What are you talking about? He asked, laughing nervously. I took a breath, slow, controlled. I heard you say her name, I said, and I saw her walk into this house. Silence. Not the awkward kind, the dangerous kind. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away. I can explain, he started. Didn't answer his calls. Not the first one, not the second, not the third that came late at night, when regret usually finds its voice. I stayed at my sister's place, sleeping in a room that didn't hold memories of arguments or whispered lies. The quiet felt unfamiliar at first, like my body didn't know how to rest without tension. He started texting instead. I made a mistake. Please talk to me. You don't understand how lonely I was. Lonely. I stared at the word for a long time. Funny how loneliness only mattered when it was his. Days passed. Then he showed up. I was standing on the balcony, morning light warming my face, when I heard my sister's doorbell. I knew it was him before she even said his name. "I just want to talk," he said when I stepped outside. He looked different, tired, smaller somehow, like the certainty he once carried had finally left him. "I said everything I needed to," I replied. "No, you didn't," he insisted. "You walked away before I could explain." I held his gaze, calm, unmoved. "I explained for months," I said softly. "I just wasn't listening then." That stopped him. He reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone like it was evidence. "I ended it," he said quickly. "I blocked her. It's over." I didn't react. I didn't feel victorious the way people expect you to. There was no rush, no celebration, no sudden happiness. There was just quiet. The kind that comes when your body finally stops bracing for impact. I stayed with my sister longer than I planned, not because I was hiding, but because I was learning how to exist without constantly explaining myself. Mornings were slower. Coffee tasted better. I slept through the night. And slowly, the guilt faded. The guilt of not trying harder. The guilt of walking away. The guilt of choosing myself. One afternoon, I found myself standing in front of a mirror I hadn't looked into in months, not checking for signs of damage, just noticing who I was. I looked steady. That surprised me. He texted once more, a long message this time, apologies layered with memories, promises wrapped in regret. I read it without shaking, without hope, without anger. Then I put my phone down. Because closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you stop asking for. Weeks later, I returned to the house to collect the last of my things. He wasn't there. He said he wouldn't be. I think he knew I needed the space. The rooms felt different.